Christmas to me is togetherness. It is you and the family and friends. It is you and the angels and the cows and the deer and the dog and the shepherds and the angels up there, all together in one place, in one habitat, centered on the babe, on the manger. It's togetherness in Christ. It's togetherness in the Lord Jesus. And together with Jesuit Communications and Arete of the Ateneo de Manila University, I wish to invite you to celebrate Christmas with us in a very special concert, which we entitled The Third Noel. Light up the world, spreading hope and solidarity with all nations. The show will be streamed on December 11, 7:30 in the evening on the Facebook pages of Jesuit Communications, Radio Katipunan, Arete, and other social media partners. May the light of Christmas spirit shine forth from within our hearts. Join us. I'll see you there.
Christmas to me means the peace of Christ ruling our hearts. Peace in the midst of restlessness, confidence in the midst of discouragement, joy in the midst of sadness, and courage in the midst of trial. Christmas is Emmanuel, God with us. Together with Jesuit Communications and Arete of the Ateneo de Manila University, I wish to invite you to celebrate Christmas with us in a very special concert entitled The Third Noel, Light Up the World, Spreading Hope and Solidarity with all nations. The show will be streamed on December 11, 7:30 in the evening on the Facebook pages of Jesuit Communications, Radio Katipunan, Arete, and other social media partners. May the light of Christmas spirit shine forth from within our hearts.
Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atin sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, sa radyo, radyo, Katipunan, sa radyo, radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugo, todo sa kayod, tunong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing giting at tigil.
Good take! Want to hear our take on all your favorite filmy things? Tune in to Clapback, the radio show for film critics, production news, pop culture, and social commentary, serving as a place for our voice in our cinematic universe. Hosted by the Loyola Film Circle, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Only here on Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM. Action!
What's up, Filmy fam? I'm Max, and when it comes to films, I serve you the facts. So please take this hour to sit back and relax. You're on mute.
Here we go again with those technical difficulties.
Right?
Hey guys, I'm Austin. Some people say I'm chill, just here to keep it real and serve you your daily movie film.
And
Hey, guys.
this is Clapback. It's December, and this is our last show of the year.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. So we'll be wrapping up 2020, or what was of 2020 in terms of movies, and talking about the most wonderful time of the year. So, Austin, what's been happening?
Oh, in case you haven't heard, HBO Max and Warner Brothers just released that they'll be matching their streaming release and their theatrical release on the same day, and AMC is pretty mad about that. If you guys don't know, AMC is a company that actually owns a lot of movie theaters, and they're also behind AMC's The Walking Dead. So basically what's happening is the AMC CEO is criticizing Warner Brothers for allowing their material to be played the same day as the theater release, which, I mean, if you didn't know, given the coronavirus and everything, it's just going to cut their profitability for the theater releases. And with a lot of movie showings that HBO Max wants to release with Warner Brothers help, which is Doom, The Matrix 4, Wonder Woman 1984, Suicide Squad, In the Heights, The Conjuring, Tom and Jerry, even the new Space Jam movie, just to name a few. So I can see why, he's kind of criticizing them for wanting to do stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I see why they'd get the criticism, but at the same time, what other choice does Warner Brothers have? I mean, they can't really shelf the movies indefinitely. They have to do something, and I think this is actually a good way to meet halfway.
That's true. And I think it also just shows on our changing, how the pandemic is kind of changing our habits. And maybe there's a possibility that cinemas and theater releases and the experience won't be the same as before. Even though I personally am a fan of watching movies in the cinema.
Of course, it's something that we really miss, to be back in the theater with our popcorn, with food, getting to watch the experience with our friends live and getting to talk about it after. It's something we all miss, but of course, we have to think about our safety.
Mm-hmm.
So, what else?
Anything else that's been happening on Netflix?
On Netflix, not much actually, but I think there's something for anime lovers. So I think you're the one to talk about that.
Well, Attack on Titan just released its final season on last Sunday, and honestly, I haven't seen the last season yet, but I have been such a big fan of Attack on Titan, so I cannot wait for that. Yeah.
Something to add to the movie list. Well, show list, actually. So, apart from that, on Netflix, Mank was just released, and it's the story about the creation of Citizen Kane. So, it's starring a lot of familiar names like Lily Collins, Amanda Seyfried, and Gary Oldman, just to name a few.
Man, I'm really excited for that.
Me too.
I've seen Citizen Kane, and
something to add.
So it's really good to find out the story behind it, and also when you hear that the director of Citizen Kane, Orson Welles, was his first movie. So to make your first movie the best movie of all time, or one of the best movies of all time, is really, really interesting in my opinion. Yeah.
Of course, it's a big achievement. So apart from that, back to cartoons, Legend of Korra will be streaming on Netflix Philippines on December 15. So that's actually something really fun to marathon over the Christmas break.
Yeah, I mean, how Avatar just got a resurgence in fandom. I started seeing online, there's so many Avatar memes and everyone just commenting on Avatar. So it's really nice to follow it up with Legend of Korra and see a resurgence of fandom, because I personally like the Legend of Korra series, despite a lot of criticism that maybe it wasn't as good as the original series. So yeah.
The thing about Korra versus The Last Airbender, I think it's a matter of approach, because if you looked at them as two different shows and not the same thing done twice, you'd actually appreciate Korra more. If you gave yourself a break in between watching Avatar The Last Airbender and then watching Korra, and not comparing Korra to Aang because they're two very, very different characters, you'll really learn to appreciate Korra a lot more. I really loved her storyline, especially in season 3. I feel like that's where her character really developed, because Zahir as a villain really brought out everything about Korra that you needed to see, the good and the bad. And I found that really interesting and really hard to pull off, especially in a kids show. Kids show.
Well, I find it like I think there's this growing trend in Western animation because there's this I feel like in Western animation they have this thing like, oh, cartoons are for kids. But now there's this resurgence of this like having cartoons have more mature themes that reach older audience. And I think Korra is one of those because some of the themes that they do dabble in, I wouldn't say they're as child friendly, but I can say that children can watch them. But I'd say like older audiences can really take away so much more from the show than younger audiences can.
That's right. And for those who saw it like twice in their lives, like once when they were young and then looking back at it now, I feel like there are things that you'll realize or more things to learn from now that you're watching it older and kind of with a newer perspective and a little more life experience.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so moving a little bit back to Disney, this just got in at like 2 a.m. while I was lying alone sleepless. IGN announced that all Spider-Man actors will return along with Alfred Molina, who played Dr. Ock from Spider-Man 2004
Oh, that's
for
really cool.
the upcoming Spider-Man 3 movie. So imagine Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland working together in one movie. Like, this is exciting.
It is. Especially like I love Spider-Man 2. Especially with Doc Ock being the villain. Doc Ock was one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, even in the comics. So to see him like coming again, and that actor, I really felt like he really got the essence of Dr. Octavius. So, and he like I really can't imagine someone. I mean, I guess no one really has tried the role aside from him, but I really can't see anyone playing that role, like aside from him. But like I do have like some worry about the new movie or the upcoming movie because there is that curse, that Spider-Man 3 curse. When you think about it, Spider-Man 3
course.
did
Yes.
pretty bad, and the Amazing Spider-Man 3 was never made. So there's kind of this curse, and I feel like they have that same. There might be like some similarities to the original Spider-Man 3 and this one because a lot of the problems from Spider-Man 3 was jamming in so many villains and so many plot points and not being able to handle them in a very cohesive and proper manner. So with all these characters and villains coming back, I'm kind of scared they might be making the same mistake.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking of because like the Marvel fan in me is so happy that we're going to see them all together. And for the Andrew Garfield fans, this is also his Spider-Man 3. This is also his third appearance. So like it's set to be really fun, but at the same time I'm kind of worried because of everything going on. Of course, IGN announced this. It was not yet confirmed by Disney or by fandom, but usually when IGN announces something, chances are it's true. And like, you know, they're introducing a multiverse, which I'm really interested to see, but I'm scared that introducing everything all at once will be overwhelming for audiences or will turn it into a fan service movie. So I'm kind of hoping that with Doctor Strange coming out as well, also introducing multiverses and
Just another plot point to add.
exactly and being directed by Sam Raimi, I hope that they find a way to tell the story with both movies instead of cramming them into just one movie for the sake of storytelling. Besides, that's kind of how it was in the comics.
That's true. But and also I really like that. Well, although I'm a bit scared of all the characters, I like that Doctor Strange is there because at the end of Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, you see what's this? You see Peter Parker's identity getting revealed, which in the comics actually happened in the Civil War story, and it needed Doctor Strange to collectively like erase that moment from people's minds for Peter to have his identity back, his secret identity back anyway.
Exactly. And we also need to remember Toomes appearing in Morbius, and Morbius is also coming out next year. So I'm pretty sure some of the story is going to go to that. So the Spider-Man universe right now is getting so expansive, which is both exciting and scary to see. I just hope that with the implementation of all the multiverses, they kind of make it like Into the Spider-Verse where none of the Spider-Men kind of overwhelm the other, and instead they're all working together towards the same goal.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, too much exposition can really just ruin the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, before we talk about Christmas movies, which I'm so excited about, I'm going to read some comments. So, Erwin Isaac Vega Villamor says AMDG. So, yes, go Ateneo.
Yeah.
Hello to
Woo!
Ma'am Jen. Hello also to Sir Les. And hi to Tristan. So, thank you guys for watching. And if you have any Christmas movies or any comments about our whole Spider-Man commentary, please let us know so we
Feel
can
free to
talk
put in the
about it.
comments. Yeah. But anyway, given that the season is Christmas, what are your top 3 favorite Christmas movies?
You know, it was so hard to get my list down to 3. So I really did my best here, and I'm going to start with the most recent release, which is the Princess Switch duology. So I talked a bit about this last time, but now that it's a Christmas episode, I can talk about it in depth. So the first the first Princess Switch movie was about this baker from Chicago and this duchess who meet up in this fictional little Christmas town and switch places because they look exactly alike. Now, with switching places, the baker falls in love with the prince that the duchess was supposed to marry, and the duchess falls in love with the baker's best friend. So that complicates things. But of course, there was a happy ending, and the story was continued this year in Princess Switch Switched Again, where another character who looks exactly like the 2 main characters comes in, and all 3 of them switch places. So it gets really interesting. And since this movie came out, I'm not going to go too deep into the story, but it's a really fun, light Christmas watch, not just for the story, which is very lighthearted, and this is something that you watch to be happy.
Yeah.
The scenery, the
it
food,
gives me a
the things they
Midsummer
bake.
Night's Dream for some reason. Like that vibe. That like they're all just liking each other, right? No?
No, I'd
Okay,
understand
no.
Princess and the Pauper because they switch places and just like one person each, but
Wait, you
No.
mean switch places like a Freaky Friday type switch places?
no, as in they look exactly alike, so they switch clothes, costumes, everything, and then they pretend to be
okay.
the other.
Okay, alright, okay, never mind. Just scratch that whole comment.
All right, okay, we'll forget it happened. So anyway, what I said was another thing that makes it enjoyable apart from the story is also the scenery, like the castles, the Christmas town itself, how it's snowing, and it's a Christmas town. Like, what's not happy about a Christmas town? And there's sugar cookies and Christmas pastries. So the formula that this used, which is a non-existent Christmas town, becoming a princess, all of that, that's like my formula. That's how to get my attention. Like, seriously, just Christmas, becoming a princess on Christmas Day, I will be there. I will watch through and through. And this brings me to my
And
next
I thought I was happy
recommendation.
with the Christmas gift.
Okay, well, anyway, my next recommendation would be any of the Hallmark Christmas movies. Saying, especially when the girl becomes a princess, bumps into a prince in his little Christmas town country, and they hit it off, and you enjoy the story from there. So 2 of my favorites are Royal Winter, which is about a journalist who goes to the non-existent Christmas town and bumps into the prince, and then another one is Christmas Princess or Princess for Christmas, where the girl is dating the prince already and they visit his town for Christmas. So as I said, light Christmas watch and my favorite formula, Christmas plus princesses. So, any comments?
Clearly, you know way more about Christmas movies than I have. I'd say mine is so basic because I'm really just all about those classic ones I used to watch as a kid. Me personally, I guess I'm not so much updated with like the new Christmas movies because like my favorite Christmas movies would probably be like Home Alone. Like I loved Home Alone when I was a kid, and especially when I'm older now and I find out about Joe Pesci. Like I guess like when I was younger, I was just like, oh, that guy's kind of funny. But now you watch like I've seen Goodfellas and Casino. So imagine like this really rough Joe Pesci, and he's trying to like curse in Home Alone, but he can't because it's a kids movie. And that's just like funny, just going back and rewatching that. Yeah.
Exactly, a very different side. So, okay, my last Christmas recommendation, which you will judge me less for, is Serendipity. So it's a rom-com, and it's also Christmas. And Serendipity means happy accident, which pretty much defines their story because how they met was a happy chance encounter. And then, of course, one of my favorite Christmas elements is hot chocolate, and they go to the Serendipity Cafe where they have frozen hot chocolate.
Aw.
What's not to like? And I think it's a really good movie to watch this year, especially because I see a lot of our fellow students saying that they miss chance encounters and happy accidents. Because, like, I'm sure you can relate to this when I say a big part of our college lives is bumping into friends after class or just walking into the hallway and making spontaneous plans. Like, you just bump into each other and say, oh, hey, let's go across the street, let's get some food, hang out. And, right?
Compared
like,
to organized Zoom calls, right?
exactly. Like once the Zoom call is over, that's it. We all go our separate way or we hop onto Discord. And it's not the same as saying, hey, let's go get something in JSEC. It's so different.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yes. And honestly, I cannot get enough of Kate Beckinsale, personally. One of my favorite actress. Like, I really loved her in Underworld and also, yeah, Serendipity. But
Of course.
what does that mean?
What are you talking about? I was just like, of course. A comment I expected from you.
Okay. I don't know why it felt like I felt like I was being attacked there. I don't know.
You were the one doing the attacking with me liking princess Christmas movies.
Hey, I called my Christmas movies basic. So, even out.
You attacked yourself. So why don't you give us another basic?
All right, so another basic Christmas movie, but I absolutely love is The Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, like, you gotta love Jack Skellington and Sally and just how the whole thing unfolds. And I just love all the songs that come from even the Halloween songs, which is really great.
What's really funny about this movie is it was in our October Halloween recommendations, and now we're bringing it up again for Christmas. So we really can't decide if it's a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie. But the fact that I brought it up in October as a Halloween movie and you're bringing it up now as a Christmas movie, it's like, okay, this is a perfect example of there are two kinds of people and there are two ways of looking at everything.
That's very true. And when you think about it, we don't really have Thanksgiving to like separate Halloween from Christmas. So I can kind of see us like mending the two together, right?
Well, we do live in the Philippines and Christmas here starts in September. So I think it's the perfect movie to watch actually because like in malls, we see the overlap of Christmas and Halloween. Like in September, we see the Christmas decorations already. And then come October, these Christmas decorations mix up with the Halloween decorations. And then after Halloween, they just pull out the Halloween. So it's the perfect movie to watch. And like, something I notice in my village at least every year is during Halloween, some people will put up Christmas decorations, wearing Halloween masks. So like imagine Santa Claus wearing a mask of the Scream or wreaths with cobwebs, like literal Christmas decorations. Yeah, with Halloween stuff on it. And then come November 1, they remove the cobwebs, they remove the masks, and the house is ready for Christmas. So
that's
I think
level 100 IQ right there. Level 100 IQ, why spend on like two types of decorations, right?
Exactly.
True. Oh, I'd say my last one wouldn't be so basic though. But it depends on you if you count this as a Christmas movie. If you guys think this is a Christmas movie or not, put it in the comments. But I'd say Die Hard is a great Christmas movie. It's just Bruce Willis and he just wants to visit his family for the holidays, but ends up getting trapped in a building with bank robbers who pose as terrorists. So it's really interesting, like how it all unfolds. And in the end, like I guess it doesn't give me Christmas vibes, but I do like watching it during Christmas.
Well, it does take place in Christmas, but does that make it a Christmas movie?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Why is it a
That
Christmas movie?
Because it takes place in Christmas.
Okay. Fair enough.
Don't bring me down. This is my Christmas movie.
All right. Okay. You know what? 'Tis the season, right?
Yep, 'tis the season indeed.
So some special mentions that I like watching during Christmas. Harry Potter, because of their Christmas feasts and the Yule Ball. Like I find that so Christmassy. The Yule Ball especially because everything is snowy and it's all a celebration. And of course, as I mentioned, the Great Hall Christmas feasts. I mean, how can you not feel Christmas because of that? But
Yeah,
this is
especially
also one of those
in Goblet
things.
of Fire, when they have that punk band coming in.
Oh gosh.
Oh, that's so I love that so much. Like when you have it just seems so weird.
Watch your words. We are live anyway.
Oh, right.
Let's be real here. The Goblet of Fire would have been a musical because of that wonderful punk number during the Yule Ball.
With
and
the
because
goblins.
right, and it was also supposed to be the movie where they sing the Hogwarts hymn called Hogwarts, Hoggy Hogwarts. But unfortunately, they cut that scene out and just left it as a bonus feature in the DVD. But I really wish they included it because it would have been so fun. I mean, the actors had a dance number for it and everything. It really would have been a musical, but I guess they didn't want that approach for the Goblet of Fire.
Sad, so sad. And also, you can't forget those Hogsmeade scenes in Prisoner of Azkaban and all those other movies. Especially Hogsmeade just gives you that Christmas vibe. It has that especially when you go in number 3, it has honey jukes and it's all snowing, and you even have Christmas carolers there. So yeah, I'd say Harry Potter really has a lot of moments like that.
See, Christmas Town. There's a Christmas town there's a fictional Christmas town for everyone.
Yep, I guess I guess so.
There were also a lot of fun Christmas crossovers that would happen when we were kids. So the Disney shows would have casts show up at each other's shows. So I think Sweet Life had one where Hannah Montana and the Wizards were there, and they did the same thing for summer breaks. But of course, they made their Christmas ones extra special because they also had off-show Christmas specials where the actors would sing. And for me, when I was younger, that was one thing that really signaled Christmas.
For sure. A lot of Christmas themed episodes are really great. I really enjoyed when I was a kid watching the Batman Christmas episode. So that one was really something for me. And even when I was growing up, I'd watch, and Victorious had a really great Christmas episode that I recently just rewatched on Netflix. Yeah.
I remember that when they sang Andre's song.
Yeah, because he didn't get an A. I feel like you can relate to that. You who has such perfect grades.
Wow. Okay.
Hey,
The
that's a compliment.
exposure.
Hey, that's a compliment. You should take that.
All right. So anyway, another movie that people like to bring up every year is The Grinch. And apart from Jim Carrey's original version, they released a Benedict Cumberbatch cartoon version last year.
Oh, yeah. I really love... Was that the one where it was live? The one that came out in the early 2000s?
Yeah, that one was live.
Oh, the one you're talking about is the animated one, right? No.
Yes, well, I kind of brought up both, so you just pick.
No, I didn't get to see the newer one in 2018 or 2019. But when I was younger, I really enjoyed the original Grinch. Oh, I guess that wasn't really the original, but that's the one I grew up with.
I just find the Grinch really funny as a character, and I find his lines so funny, especially when he starts liking Christmas.
Yeah, when his heart grows 3 sizes and stuff like that.
Yeah. And of course, his dog, Max.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course you love that.
Of course, gotta give a shout out to the dog.
Uh,
So another classic Christmas movie that's been remade several times is The Christmas Carol.
Actually, I really like this rom-com version of that. Even though a lot of people, you'll say that my taste is bad, but Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, Present, and Future, I thought that was pretty good, and I love Matthew McConaughey, so...
Wow, I had no idea that was a thing. I mean, I'd see that movie, but I didn't know it was a Christmas Carol story.
I mean, because basically it's about Matthew McConaughey, who's kind of this playboy and slept with over how many women, and so basically when he goes to his brother's wedding, he is confronted by 3 ghosts: the ghost of his girlfriend's past, the ghost of her present, and future. So, and after the movie, he goes through this change and tries to be a better person, and I really found it to be a good movie for I guess I don't have the best image of romantic comedies, because I feel like they tend to somewhat be the same. So this one was really good in my opinion. Yeah.
It's interesting. So for me, actually, my memory of The Christmas Carol is actually the Barbie version. and the Disney version. And I'm not even talking about the Disney animation version. I'm talking about the Scrooge Duck version
Oh
with
yeah.
with Huey, Dewey, and Louie also.
Oh,
And I think that was part of the Mickey Mouse Christmas special. That's my memory of it.
I've always heard so much about the Scrooge McDuck. What's this? The Christmas Carol. Like I always hear about it, but I've never actually seen it myself. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Is that the one where he like dives into like a bunch of gold, or no? Is that not it?
That's one of the versions.
Oh, so there's many versions of it.
Yeah, actually, I remember seeing two different ones. There's that one where he dives into gold, and there's one that's a bit newer where he does something similar, but they updated the animation a bit.
Oh yeah. And also if you've seen House of Mouse, which is like this amazing like show, like honestly you'll never get a show like House of Mouse with all like the Disney characters just coming in together. Like I love they had a Christmas episode that played on the Christmas Carol, or it's either the Christmas Carol or the Nutcracker Suite. So that I'm really sorry for getting that so mixed up because they're so different. But like yeah, in the spirit of Christmas.
I think House of Mouse is what introduced our generation to talk shows. Because if I remember correctly, Mickey Mouse was like the host, and everyone was either an audience member or a guest. And it was very Ellen, very Tonight Show.
It was. And they had a lot of shows. I really enjoyed. That's one of like my favorite Mickey Mouse TV shows, if anything. Yeah. Another classic Christmas tale also, but personally, I don't really vibe with this one, would be Polar Express. Yeah.
You know, Polar Express is a movie that starts a conversation every year because of its animation. Because I remember for its time, it was very realistic. So people were either really impressed or really bothered. I'm just surprised that until now, in 2020, that is still a conversation.
Yeah. Well, I think, because Polar Express I think a lot of people see it as a classic, but for me personally, I just wasn't a big fan of the animation, because if you were gonna go animation, you might as well utilize animation and make it like, and use the potential of animation to tell the story better. If you make it super realistic, then why not just make it live, right? Personally,
Exactly.
Now, that's my thoughts on it. But the story-wise, I thought it was pretty good. So I'd say it's a good movie. It's just not pleasing to watch for me personally.
I think for me to have a proper opinion on Polar Express, I have to watch it again because it's been a really long time since the last time I saw it. So I'll make sure to watch it again over the Christmas break.
Oh yeah, I think it's definitely something worth a rewatch. Even for me, like maybe I'd like it more. There are a lot of movies that like once you watch a second or third time, you tend to like it more. Yeah.
That's right. So another light watch is The Holiday with Kate Hudson and Cameron Diaz. So in this movie, Cameron Diaz is a TV producer and Kate Hudson is a writer, and they switch homes for the holidays, and that's where the plot runs. Here I go again with switches.
Man, I'm betting you just love Freaky Friday and Kimi no Nawa, huh?
Oh my goodness. Don't get me started on Kimi no Nawa. That made me cry. That is not a switch I liked.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Kate Winslet, not Kate Hudson.
Well, you didn't like Freaky Friday?
I loved Freaky Friday.
The one where the mom's like acting so weird.
Lindsay Lohan, that also had a good soundtrack.
Yes, it did. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, speaking of like 2020 and like what happened, like there were so many movies that didn't really make it to the big screen, or we didn't get to watch. Yeah.
Exactly. There were movies this year that got away. And the first one I want to mention is Black Widow. I was really excited to see it because it was the first female-led Marvel. I mean, oh no, that is Captain Marvel. But Black Widow was an OG Avenger. So
yeah,
it would have been so nice to finally see her story, or at least an adventure that she's heading, because she's been around for so long.
She has. She's been around since Iron Man 2, which is like earlier than Thor and all these other, and she's not getting. I feel like it's a massive disrespect to Black Widow, and like it's long overdue personally.
Exactly, especially with her character treatment in Endgame. Like for me, I loved Endgame as a movie, but it bothered me that she didn't get a proper goodbye. Like, we really just see her trade her life for the Soul Stone. Spoiler alert for those who haven't watched it yet. But then she doesn't get a proper funeral like Iron Man.
Yes, for sure, for sure. So I'm really excited, and I really hope they can deliver on a great story too, and do Black Widow justice. Given that she died in the MCU already, so we probably won't be seeing a lot of Scarlett Johansson or Black Widow in quite some time.
Exactly. I think this is meant to introduce the new Black Widow. So that's something to look forward to as well, especially because there are rumors that Yelena is going to be showing up a lot in the Hawkeye series. So I really think they're going to be changing up the roster from this point on.
Another film that we really didn't get to see was In the Heights. In the Heights, especially with Lin-Manuel Miranda, I was so up with that Hamilton fever. So just finding out that In the Heights was moved was just I was very disheartened by it. And I was able to listen to the soundtrack, and I found it to be really good. So yeah, I'm excited for it to come out when it does, though.
Yes, me too. I mean, I love the soundtrack of In the Heights. And of course, we had the Hamill film, which got us excited for a lot of things that Lin-Manuel Miranda has planned. And In the Heights is going to be his first movie, not stage documentary. So I'm really excited for it. And it's a story that a lot of people are going to find interesting.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
So another movie is Wonder Woman 1984. So it's going to be released, as mentioned, it's going to be released in the States in both cinemas and streamers. But in the Philippines, we're still going to have to wait a little longer because we do not have HBO Max yet, and we do not have open cinemas yet. So we're going to have to wait a little longer, just a bit of patience. But can I just say, their promos are stunning. Their posters, Diana's new outfit, it looks like it's going to be really good, and I'm just really excited to see how they're bringing back Steve Trevor's character.
Same. And also, I'm really interested because it looks really good, and I really didn't think they'd make Cheetah the villain, but they did, and I'm really interested to see how they pull off making her, because I always found her to be kind of a lackluster villain, in my opinion, compared to some other villains in the DC universe.
I saw early reviews from the advanced screening, and so far the reception is really good. And they said props to the people playing the villains because they were able to bring the characters to places that people who read the comics wouldn't expect. So I think that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. But yeah, given that 2020 was still packed with a lot of movies, and although we didn't get the movies we were promised, there were still movies that did deliver nonetheless. What would be your favorite?
My favorite. So I think this came out in 2019 in the States, but here in the Philippines, it came out in early 2020. I really liked Little Women because, of course, the book was something I was required to read in grade school, and I liked the characters. I liked how the sisters lived their everyday lives, and I also enjoyed watching the movie of Winona Ryder, which was Little Women. So seeing it done in, well, not in modern times, but seeing the movie made now with completely different director's treatment, I really appreciated it because instead of the linear story that the book and the original movie followed, it did a then and now approach. So you would see clips from the present day, and then you'd see clips from the past, and how they would differentiate these two was through coloring. So the past memories, because they wanted to show that there was more warmth between the sisters, more warmth and happiness in life, they used warmer, more orangey tones. And then the present day, since things were getting a bit sad, the sisters were split up, they used a lot of blue. And for me, that little thing made a big difference in the movie. Plus, I think the performances of Saoirse Ronan, Florence Pugh, Emma Watson, Elizabeth Scanley, they were amazing. And of course, Meryl Streep and the girl who played the mom. I really enjoyed it.
I really need to watch that movie. That's really on my queue to watch.
I think it's on Netflix already, and it's been there for a while. So they might have pulled it out already, but definitely a must-see. Don't get disheartened by the fact that it's called Little Women. I think anyone can enjoy it because it's just a great film. And it's one of those that has something for everyone, because I think Jo, the struggle of Jo trying to get her book published is a struggle that anyone can relate to in any shape or form. So it's a really good movie to see.
Speaking of Netflix, like The Devil All the Time was like probably one of the good movies that came out in 2020 that really showed also like Tom Holland's acting range beyond just playing, Peter Parker, right?
Exactly. So I'm gonna be honest. I only got to see the first half because after a while, like I found it really, really dark. But
It is.
I was really impressed by Tom Holland's acting because he showed us he could be more than the smart science kid, lovable Spider-Man. He was so serious, and the places his character's mind needed to explore were places that you yourself wouldn't want to explore in real life. And on top of that, his accent, he was really able to pull off a different type of American accent. So props to Tom Holland, and of course to Robert Pattinson, who did well.
Oh yeah, Robert Pattinson. I totally forgot he was there. But yeah, I remember like, because I just saw Knives Out like recently, and I was like, when I saw Daniel Craig's Western accent, I was like, and I saw Tom Holland do pretty well. I was like, why couldn't you be like that?
Yeah, he needed help. But Knives Out, I understand it's a 2019 movie, but I enjoyed that. Some people saw it in early 2020 also because of the time, but I think Knives Out is a good movie to see over the Christmas break if you're looking for a movie that makes you want to think. Because for me, it's not a movie that you can just sit down and watch. You're going to want to think because you're going to want to figure out the case. You're going to want to crack it yourself before the movie cracks it for you. So that's a good watch.
That's true. Like, especially like they also show it in a way that's not. It has a light mood to it for being a whodunit and being a murder mystery. It had a light mood and kind of a playful mood. So it's definitely worth to watch if you haven't seen it yet.
Yes, and of course, moment of appreciation for Chris Evans and his cable knit sweater. That iconic cable knit sweater that went back on sale because it's Christmas. But of course,
I felt like the
Chris
entire
Evans.
family was wearing like those types of sweaters.
I think so, but of course it was Chris Evans who got the most attention for the cable knit sweater because first, he's Chris Evans, so come on.
Okay.
And then he got one for Dodger, his dog. So they're
that's
matchy.
true.
It's so
Yes,
cute.
yeah. Okay, that's true. That's very true. But like speaking of 2020 though, like a lot of other good movies I felt like also came out. Like Parasite. Parasite was really good.
Of course. And Parasite, what I find so interesting about Parasite is not only did it pave the way for Asian filmmakers, but I think people also got to see it from a different light this year because though it came out last year, the events of this year kind of aligned themselves with some of the things that happened in Parasite. So people are starting to appreciate it differently. Like, I guess in the case of the Philippines, the typhoon scene where the home of the Kims got flooded.
Yeah.
Yes,
and then the parks would just talk about it like, oh, it was nothing. It's something.
Exactly.
It's a reality that's just all too common in the Philippines.
Exactly. Like the parks were like, oh, the rain was a blessing because it's been hot. But for the Kims, it was like, oh no, our home is flooded. We need to salvage what we can. And with the storms that have been happening in the Philippines, those are conversations that have also been happening across the country.
It is. Props to the directors. I'm very sorry I can't. What is this name again?
Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho, yeah. Honestly, like he has a lot of good movies like Snowpiercer, Old Boy. So, man, I really like Parasite for what it was, and like it really deserved to win Best Picture this year.
It did, and I think it came at the right time, even to our cinemas.
Yeah, and like for animation fans, like especially like comics fans, Justice League Apocalypse War was, for me, I'd say one of the most unique Justice League films out there, and like just DC films, because they really like they didn't give a normal plot. Like usually superhero movies have like, or even like the animated ones have a certain way of moving, but Justice League Apocalypse War was really like a different film, in my opinion, compared to the other ones. And
how would you describe the plot if it's not a normal plot?
Well, I'd say it tends to be, it's a bit darker, but it's because, superhero movies tend to be safe if you watch too many of them. Like, the heroes win, So Justice League Apocalypse War kind of doesn't really play by those rules, and like no one's really safe. So that's what I loved about Justice League Apocalypse War.
All right. Well, still on the topic of animation, but a completely different spectrum. Onward was one of the earlier releases of Disney this year, and it was actually one of the last movies shown in cinemas. So the other day, I was actually walking through the mall doing errands, and I passed by the cinemas, which of course were closed, and one of the theaters had Onward left as a sign, and it reminded me of how in March, Onward had just premiered, and a few days later, lockdown started. So of course it made me nostalgic and really miss cinemas. But apart from that, Onward is a really nice movie to watch with your family. Like, I have friends who watched it with their siblings. I mean, I don't have siblings, but actually the perfect people to watch it with are your siblings, because you see the brother to brother relationship, the bond between an older sibling and a younger sibling. Now, the first half of the movie, you don't see it as much, but somewhere halfway through, you see it. And I don't even have siblings, but I really cried. It's really moving, and it's kind of sad that its movie stint was cut short. But of course, now it's available on Disney Plus, so people can see it there.
Oh, well, I will see it soon because I still have not seen that movie. But I hear there's some pretty good reviews about it. And you know, Tom Holland and Chris Pratt can't get enough of those two.
Yeah, their chemistry is really good. I mean, even in an animated movie, of course, we see their chemistry in real life through the Marvel movies, but I like how they were able to translate the same chemistry in an animated movie, given that they weren't even in the same rooms when they were recording for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and also speaking of a lot of other good ones, Jojo Rabbit was a pretty good movie that came out. I'd say it came out late because in the Philippines it came out 2020.
Yes, actually, Jojo Rabbit came out like really early in 2019 for the other side of the world. But for here in Manila, it came out like January, February, which is a bit sad given that it was a really good movie. And I kind of wish that more audiences saw it because it was a very different approach to World War II. Like, it wasn't heavy. Hitler was portrayed as a little boy's imaginary friend, but he still wasn't likable. Like, he was an imaginary friend, but in a sense it belittled his character even further because now you can't take him seriously. Like, I think that was the point the director was really trying to make, that Hitler, you know,
yeah, that's
the fear.
true. And I think it's really like they took a more playful approach because I mean Jojo Rabbit was a kid. And as a kid, you wouldn't see this whole Nazism as some dark or some great. You'd see it as like a nice, like when you notice the movie was very bright, very joyful.
It was.
In a sense, even though the subject matter was very questionable. Yeah, so it really plays on like the power of propaganda on young minds and how it can really affect how they see certain things and how they see certain people.
Yes, I agree. And I think that those kids deserved recognition for their acting in the Oscars. I mean, for kids to be able to show that emotion and to bring out the message of the movie at that young age, that's something that deserves a lot of recognition. So props to them.
Yeah, for sure. Any other movies you'd say would be amazing for 2020?
Well, actually, I think I want to start talking about the movies and TV shows I'm looking forward to. So we have WandaVision coming out sometime next year.
Oh yeah, I heard it's coming out in January 15, which would be amazing if it came out in December like they promised. But you know, with this pandemic, just gotta
Yes,
take
of
what you
course.
can.
But you know, I really like, just like with Wonder Woman, they have really good promotional material. Like, I think the posters of WandaVision are so good. And what I love about it is they really show the characters. They're showing how the characters look like in the comics, but they don't give anything about the plot. So you're still left to wonder, but you're so excited for it.
Oh yeah, and also for like everyone, like I'm so excited for Rugrats. Cause like as a kid, I loved Rugrats so much, and like it coming out in January 29. You know, it's just like not that far away.
Yeah, that's pretty soon. And shortly after that, we're going to have Tom and Jerry. I actually didn't know that they were making a Tom and Jerry movie, but apparently they've been working on it for quite some time with Chloe Moretz starring.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That seems really cool. I remember seeing like a picture of Jerry using AirPods as like speakers, and then he has a small iPad as like the TV.
Oh, I saw that. I found that
That
so
is-
funny and so smart. Like the AirPods
good.
being used as speakers, because of course he's a mouse.
Yeah, and like I really love Tom and Jerry because for me it had such a impactful like Like, it was a really impactful show. I really love watching it as a kid, and it's something me and my grandmother would watch together. So even when she would get sick in the hospital, because she had cancer, she would watch Tom and Jerry, and it's like I just found it to be like, wow, she's still like, it's something that would still bring her like joy. I thought she was watching it for me, but it was genuinely like we both just really enjoyed the show. Yeah.
That's nice. Now, also, we've talked about this before, but Raya and the Last Dragon is coming out on March 12. So Disney is going to have more things to add to their animated roster.
Oh yeah, Ryan. I actually am kind of interested in that because I don't really. There's not much known about it. Like, there's just like something about her finding the dragon, but like with Disney, like you never know how it's gonna be sometimes.
Of course. I mean, they'll show us one thing in the trailer and show us something completely different and somehow even better in the movie. So I think we
Except for
really just
Mulan.
have to wait. Okay, no shade, no shade.
Very, very sorry, but I mean, I just gotta be real with Mulan. It just wasn't my cup of tea.
So speaking of Disney, they're also finally releasing Cruella. I've actually been seeing word about Cruella since 2017, and originally they wanted Emma Stone, and now I still can't find much details about it except that it's set for release. So I'm actually looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I heard it's coming out on May 28th, so we'll just see if there might be some pushbacks and delays, or will they keep it on time this time. Yeah.
It's nice that they're going to be exploring a different side of the 101 Dalmatians story, so it's definitely something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm. Another also good one that I'm really excited for is Top Gun Maverick. Because, you know, it's been how many years since Top Gun was released, and now they're getting a sequel. So I'm really excited and like curious to see if they can sustain the amazing parts of Top Gun and transfer it to the sequel.
I'm also hoping that we get to see some of the movies that we're looking forward to in theaters. I hope that soon it becomes safe so we can go back to the cinema experience.
Yeah.
But of course,
actually.
if they decide to release it on streamers, I'll be fine. I really just miss getting to watch new movies.
Yeah, that's true. I'm so excited for Godzilla and King Kong. Like
That looks like a good movie to watch in the cinema. But of course, we're going to have to wait.
Yeah. Although I find that movie kind of weird because if you didn't know, King Kong's like 1/3 the size of Godzilla. Like King Kong, there's that famous scene where he's on the Empire State.
The Empire State.
But if Godzilla was there, Godzilla would be taller than the Empire State Building. So, or as tall. So I'd be like, I'm kind of wondering how they're going to make Godzilla and King Kong fight, given that Godzilla's like way, way bigger than King Kong.
That's actually going to complicate things. Unless because this is a bit of a different universe, since they're trying to put those two characters in the same universe, they make adjustments to the sizes. So I guess we'll just have to see.
That's true. I mean, they have done it before. I don't think they did it I don't think that they give a lot of explanation for that problem, but nevertheless, it's been done.
You know, it might be one of those things like, oh, this is what happened in the lab. But of course, we'll just have to wait for the movie to see.
That's true. Maybe King Kong drank milk.
And you didn't. Okay, anyway.
Ooh, wow, someone's being really...
Anyway, so there's a lot to look forward to in 2021. And of course, we're hoping that things get better from here on out, and we're hoping to kind of see normal life returning. So hopefully come the new year, we see positive changes, and of course we get to spend time with our loved ones, or the loved ones that we can.
Yes, of course. It's all about, spending time with the family, especially now when, there's a lot of people suffering from this disease. It's really nice to like hold the ones you love dearly and, just enjoy your time together. Even though it's on Zoom,
Exactly. Now is the time to find ways to be with the people you love even when you're apart. And actually, that's the topic of a song I'm releasing on December 20 called Because It's Christmas, which I wrote with a friend named Kenneth Rayodica. So as I said, it'll be out on all digital platforms on December 20. And it's about that. It's about Christmas, being together when you're apart, and trying to find some good and some joy because Christmas is coming and it's a season that we all love and have the fondest memories of.
Check it out, guys. Get that Christmas vibes in. Yeah.
All right. So that's our show for today. Thank you to those who stayed with us this whole year through the pandemic.
Thank you
When-
so much.
Yes, if you were here when we were still in the booth, or if you joined us now that we've transitioned to Zoom, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you, and we hope you continue to join us up until next year and maybe beyond.
Hopefully.
So from the comments, if I may read the last ones out, from Delia Reyno, magandang buhay po. You too. From Jeter Sablayan, so di na magandang connection sa mga website na God bless po. So, okay, hopefully connection gets fixed everywhere. And Luz Viminda Vicedo says, Amen. So I actually didn't see where she said amen to, but thank you for agreeing.
I'm going to hope it's that Christmas sentiment, because I feel like that's what Christmas really is all about.
Exactly. So, once again, thank you for watching us. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Once again, I'm Max.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm Max. When it comes to films, I serve you the facts, and we hope you took this hour to sit back and relax.
Oh, and I'm Austin. Some people say that I'm chill, and I'm just here to keep it real and serve you your daily movie fill.
And this has been Clapback. Happy Holidays. We hope to see you next year.
Bye.
Cut! Good take! Want to hear our take on all your favorite filmy things? Tune in to Clapback, the radio show for film critics, production news, pop culture, and social commentary, serving as a place for our voice in our cinematic universe. Hosted by the Loyola Film Circle, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Action!